welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, ReadersMagnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, ReadersMagnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank ReadersMagnet and everybody that's involved. I love ReadersMagnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this segment of the Festival of Storytellers. I would like to thank everybody who is joining me today. My name is David Dockter, and I am the author of the book Black Rock Redemption. Some of you may have read it. It will be republished here within a couple, 3 weeks. But the book I'm here to talk about today is my new book, and it is called Wagon Train Orphan. It is Western, and it is about the times around the 1850s during the California Gold Rush. The story is about a young boy, 8 years old, and his name is Mike Fagan. Him and his father start out for the gold fields, and they meet different people along the way until there is a massacre of the wagon train that they are on. Well, the only survivors of this massacre is Mike and his dog, Wolf. Now, Mike learns a lot of stuff from his father for being 8 years old. Mike says the two things that his father enjoyed most was reading the Bible and teaching him to read, and teaching him how to shoot. He says his pa enjoyed it, and he made sure that Mike was really good at both. The story tells, after the massacre, about the different people and animals and things that happened to Mike along the way, and as he survives. It tells how he survives. It tells about a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures, Indian, Hispanic, white. It tells about both the good and the bad sides of all. As we know, there's good in every culture and there's bad in every culture. It tells how he deals with both sides. Mike is really, I guess you'd say, spiritual. He believes, and he's not ashamed to say it, that God helps him and has helped him in every step along the way. Mike does eventually get to California and follows his father's dream of getting to the gold fields. But he has so many adventures along the way. This book is spiritual in nature, but it is also a typical bang bang shoot 'em up Western. There is lots and lots of excitement and adventures. Neil Wilson, good morning. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Neil. I'm glad that you are joining me online too. I have been online this is my 7th day, and I have enjoyed this immensely. If there's any questions any of the viewers have, I would be glad to try to answer them. I'll give you a little background on me. I was born in Pueblo, Colorado, and grew up in the 50s and 60s. My favorite pastimes in high school were hunting, fishing, and rodeoing. Never was very good at rodeoing, but I still like to try and had fun doing it. To support myself in these endeavors, I held several jobs while I was in high school. I was a janitor in a Dunkin' Donuts. I worked for a pool construction company building swimming pools. And I hauled hay for 6 different dairies within Pueblo County. If you've never hauled hay, I can tell you, man, you don't know what hard work is. Prior Manal, thank you for saying I look good. Good morning. After high school, I joined the U.S. Navy, and I served 4 years active and 12 years inactive when I had to get out of the reserves due to health problems. In December of 72, I married my high school sweetheart, and we raised 4 wonderful, beautiful kids together. I lost her after 28 years, and it was really hard on me. Without my kids, I don't know what I would have done at that time. About 6 years later, I met a lady, and we got married. I'm sorry to say it didn't last very long, a couple of years. We just couldn't stay together as a married couple. There's nothing I have against that lady. She is one of the most wonderful women in the world. She's one of my best friends, even to this day. But like I says, there's lots we agree on and stuff, but it's just we couldn't make it as a marriage. I live in Ordway, Colorado now. I'm active within my community, and I'm very active within my church. I have served within my church as an elder for the past dozen years. August Cooper, thank you. People have asked me why I chose to write about the West. Well, like I've said on other segments, there is no time in the history of the world that compares to the Western expansion in the United States. There's been migrations all throughout time. The migrations were always pushed by rulers, war, or tribal chieftains, whatever. But they were all sponsored and they were all group migrations. The United States, the migration westward was individualized. No government and nobody told these people they had to move west. They moved west in order to find a better life for them and their families. And many of them did. There was many of them that died along the way too and didn't make it. As a matter of fact, like they say along the Oregon Trail, there was probably a grave every mile. Okay. Angela Harris asks, I have a random question for you. What do I love about myself? Whoa. I love that I like people. I love that I can share my Lord, my God, with people. And I love just being me. I'm not perfect. You know, I am Christian, but I'm not perfect. If I was perfect, I wouldn't need God. But I know that He loves me and has forgiven my sins and takes care of me every day and guides me every day. Thank you for that question. I want to read a little passage of Wagon Train Orphan to you about how Mike found his second best friend. On the fifth day, we got lucky and found a fair-sized river. On the bank was the best-looking stallion I have ever seen. Around his neck was a rope, and on the other end, tied to a broken saddle. It looked as if the cinch had broken and the black had been dragging it for a while. Now he was in a real fix. The swells had caught tight in some boulders nearby, and he was able to reach water, but the grass that he could reach was now long gone. I don't know how long he had been there, but I suspect he had been there several days. If I hadn't come along, he would have probably starved. I cut the rope from the saddle, holding it tight. I walked up to the black. Having been on a rope for so long, he had learned that it was no good to fight it, but he shied away as I got close and stood there trembling. After an hour or so, he let me walk up to him with a handful of grass. Like I said, I am big for my age, but brother, if that horse had taken a notion, he could have stomped me into a mud hole in nothing flat. Bringing more grass to him, he eventually let me touch him. At first, he wasn't too sure of me and kept a close eye on me. And I believe if he had taken a notion to move fast, he would have been gone like the wind. Leaving the rope on him, I tied him to a tree where there was plenty of grass. After fixing a rabbit to eat that Wolf had caught earlier that day, we just sat there watching him, and after a while I hobbled the other horses, and they stayed close to the black. He accepted them as they were all gelding and posed no threat to him. This is how Mike meets his second best friend, and this horse it will show all kinds of ways to help Mike survive. I thank you, kids, Romero. People have asked me who will be interested in reading this book. I believe anybody from 13, 14, 15 on up to the age of 99 will be interested in reading this book. It tells about the West. It tells about God. It tells about people in both the worst circumstances and the best circumstances. I will say Mike is very religious and spiritual, but he is not one to have I wish, Parla, I had lived during the gold rush days, but well, I'll address that in a minute. But Mike takes no guff. He believes that in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, his father told him that when they come west, they were bringing the values of the American dream with them through those documents. And it was up to good people to stand up for the weak and good and to fight the evil. And Mike does this. The gold rush, I wish I had lived through it. But you know, the gold rush really isn't over. You can still go into areas where they have found gold in the past and some places where they haven't ever found gold. You can pan for it in the rivers and streams and get lucky and find a little bit here and a little bit there. You can use a metal detector and go up in the mountains where the spring runoff runs down into streams and stuff, and then dries. When the runoff is over, the area is dry, that will wash any gold that's down into the stream bed. And you can use a metal detector sometimes to find some. So the gold rush isn't completely over. There was another question and I missed it, and I'm sorry. If you could bring it back up, we'll answer it. Rets Hege wants to know how I come up with the character names for my story. Well, I use names of people I know. I also use names of historical figures. Sometimes I'll write and give a character a name, and as the story goes along, the main name may not fit fit the character, and I will change it if I have to. Then, I mean, I don't think Mike would have been good as a person. He might have, but I just think that Mike Fagan was a great name. I use middle names of people that I know. Yes, and I am working on some other projects. Neil Wilson, what is my kryptonite as a writer? My readers are my kryptonite. I mean, if they don't like what's being written, it kind of throws me in a tailspin sometimes. Well, you've all heard of writer's block, and it will kind of put me into the writer's block phase. But God has always seemed to push me through this phase. God is my inspiration in everything I write and in everything I do. I have some more projects that are kind of in the works right now. I have been asked if I'm going to do a sequel to Black Rock Redemption, and it's a possibility. I've been working on some ideas for that. I've also already been asked if I'm going to do a sequel for Wagon Train Orphan. And there is a good possibility there, because the story only goes from like 1850 to maybe 16 or 1865 or something like that. And there's still a lot of things that happens in the West and that Mike can be a part of. I'm also working on a story about the Irish indentured servants, how they were treated and everything in this country in the 1650s to 1670 period. August Cooper asked, what time of the day do I do most of my writing? I usually do it in the afternoon, and I kind of set a period of at least 2 hours to write. A lot of my writing comes at night, because when I've got a story going and my it goes in my head and I have trouble sleeping and I think about the story. And what I think about the story is usually a part of what I write the next day. I mean, sometimes I have to say, whoa, wait a minute, this section don't really belong here yet. So I have to build it up to bring the two sections together. You know, it's almost time for me to say goodbye. But I have enjoyed this so much, and I thank you for joining me on the Festival of Storytellers. I hope that God blesses each and every one of you, and I hope you buy my book. And when you do and read it, write me a review. Let me know how you like it. Well, for now, I am going to say goodbye, and we will see you tomorrow on the Festival of Storytellers. Thank you.